We are kicking off with Smackdown as Jey Uso returned to the blue brand to open the show with a confrontation with Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline. Since quitting Roman Reigns' Bloodline last year, Jey has been a part of Raw, except for a one-off appearance ahead of WrestleMania 40 and his match with Jimmy Uso. On that one-off appearance, Jey wrestled Sikoa to a disqualification win and was similarly returning to SmackDown for his younger brother. Jey said he arrived before Jimmy or Reigns to have a one-on-one. Jey questioned the self-professed tribal chief on his decision to usurp Reigns and divide the family. The Intercontinental Champion also questioned bringing in the Gorillas of Destiny and Jacob Fatu and implored Sikoa to consider his actions. Solo insisted that he was uniting the family and offered Jey a place if he acknowledges him, but the Raw superstar continued his efforts to get Sikoa back down. After exhausting those efforts, Uso threatened to knock Fatu out and cryptically teased that the next time they meet, it will be under different circumstances. This segment picked up with the ongoing Bloodline angle, which saw Jimmy attempt to mend fences with Jey on Raw, only to be rejected. Later on SmackDown, Reigns and Jimmy were seen arriving in an SUV, bumping to a song, and the track featured the familiar voice of Travis Scott. Jimmy said he loved the song and that he'd never heard the track before, to which Reigns revealed that it hasn't been released yet, but that Scott gave him an advance copy. After exiting the vehicle, the pair encountered Jey, who was on his way out of the arena now that his segment with Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline was finished. Despite the tensions with Sikoa, Jey still showed no interest in reconciling with his brother and Roman, the latter of whom begrudgingly admitted that both he and the family are proud of Jey. Jey responded simply with "no yeet" and departed, leaving his family members on their own, which would play into the main event of this week's SmackDown. In that segment, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa added another chapter of the Bloodline saga, but not before there was plenty of build in the run-up to the climax. Reigns was backstage with Jimmy, where he gave up on the idea of getting on good terms with Jey Uso, stating that they tried and Jey wanted nothing to do with them. In a shocking move, Reigns said that he would acknowledge Solo Sikoa, and in the ring, Reigns did just that, telling his cousin that, "I acknowledge you." Solo demanded that he make the full statement and acknowledge him as his tribal chief, or else, to which Reigns bit back, asking, "Or else what?" which led to a brawl. Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa came out with a beaten down Jimmy Uso, and Reigns still got the better of Solo until it was time to put the Ula Fala on. Before he could do that, Solo gave him a low blow, which was followed by another Bloodline beatdown, with Reigns once again finding himself laid out at the hands of his family. As Jey Uso was seen leaving the arena earlier in the show, he wasn't around to help, and after two Samoan spikes, Roman was left in the ring gasping for air. Once again, one of the most dominant WWE superstars of all time found himself overcome by the numbers, and it remains to be seen what's next for Reigns and Jimmy after this attack. This week's SmackDown clearly did not go the way that Roman Reigns intended, but the former undisputed WWE champion always wants to look his best on TV. On TikTok, Reigns shared footage backstage of himself doing his hair during last week's show in Greenville, saying that he uses the Samoan hand brush to get the right look. Now, given that this footage was from last week's SmackDown, fans joked in the comments that this was what Reigns was doing while Jimmy Uso was being attacked by the Bloodline. In the comments, fans also gave Reigns some humorous nicknames, including dubbing him the Tribal Diva, a nod to the Divas era when WWE focused on women's looks over in-ring skills. Reigns didn't save Jimmy Uso last week, but he at least looked nice on the night, in a funny moment from the gorilla position at last week's SmackDown. Last week, Randy Orton was attacked by his friend Kevin Owens in a shocking moment that was hard to watch for some, and it was Sports Illustrated who shared CCTV video of the assault. During this week's SmackDown, Orton was understandably not happy with how things went down, and Owens also appeared on the show via a video promo. Owens claimed that after 10 years in WWE, he feels things are worse now than ever, and is upset WWE officials told him to stay home after his attack on Cody Rhodes. Owens thinks this is unfair because wrestlers often ambush each other, and he doesn't understand why he's being treated differently. The Canadian also said that he would never betray Orton, as he thought their friendship was special, but Orton had betrayed him by choosing Cody Rhodes over him. The video was first posted to social media before SmackDown, and at the end of the emotional promo, Owens admitted that he doesn't know when, if ever, he'll be coming back. Orton then showed up in Nick Aldis' office, and he told the SmackDown general manager that he wants a match against Kevin Owens at Crown Jewel on November 2nd. Aldis told Orton that he can't book the match for the show in Riyadh, and when Orton pressed further, Aldis said he can't book the match because that order came from the top. Orton then left in a huff saying he knows who to talk to now, ending with a cliffhanger for this feud and segment before Smackdown carried on with the show. We'll have to see how this plays out. And do you think Orton will reach out to Triple H to get this match with Owens at Crown Jewel? Share your thoughts below. On SmackDown, a security team were seen escorting the men's Crown Jewel title, and with guards and a protective case, it was clear WWE weren't taking any chances. This presentation was then undercut when WWE showed the women's Crown Jewel title, which was simply featured in Nick Aldis' office without any of the pomp of its male counterpart. Now, Cody Rhodes seemed ready to fight Kevin Owens last week, as their situation is among SmackDown's most exciting storylines right now, but that wasn't the case this week. Instead, the American Nightmare didn't even mention Owens during his promo, and his focus was solely on the WWE Crown Jewel Championship. Rhodes claimed that at Crown Jewel there will be a definitive champion when he takes on Gunther, and said that he doesn't fear the Austrian like other people do. Rhodes concluded by inviting Gunther to next week's SmackDown, and we'll have to see if the World Heavyweight Champion answers the call this coming Friday. It's hard to believe that Owens and his actions would be of a lesser priority to Cody Rhodes than a championship that will never be defended no matter who wins the title. Sure, his match with Gunther will be great, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter and will likely not even be referenced within a month of happening. That is, unless Owens involves himself, potentially costing Rhodes the match, but that seems unlikely given what we've seen so far. The undisputed WWE Champion is off doing side quests when he should be focusing on the meat of the KO situation, and hopefully he finds his focus after this Saudi show. Rhodes had plenty to say on SmackDown, but fans had to wait until after the show went off the air to see the undisputed WWE Champion in action. In the dark match, Rhodes defeated Solo Sikoa in a street fight, and when you include TV bouts, dark matches, and live events, Rhodes is now 15-0 against the leader of the Bloodline. This is hardly a stat you'll expect to hear on TV, as Sikoa is SmackDown's top heel, but Rhodes was able to send the crowd in Colombia home happy after the show. For weeks, Andrade and Carmelo Hayes have gone toe-to-toe with a series of acclaimed matches, as both men seek to prove themselves worthy of a US title shot. Currently, the score stands at 3 wins each, and during SmackDown, it wasn't long before a face-to-face between Hayes and Andrade, curated by Byron Saxton, broke down. Nick Aldis had to get in the way to restore order, and in an announcement, the SmackDown GM shared that Game 7 will take place next week with a notable guest referee. US Champion LA Knight will be the official for this match, and while it wasn't guaranteed that the winner will receive a title match, it seems likely given Knight's involvement. Knight has held the title since SummerSlam, where he dethroned Logan Paul, and we'll have to see if the megastar can call things down the middle next week on SmackDown. Before SmackDown, WWE shared a video of Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin backstage with Nick Aldis as the Motor City Machine Guns handed him their signed WWE contracts. Aldis told Legado del Fantasma last week that Los Garza will face a mystery tag team this week, but later told Shelley and Sabin that plans for them had changed. Calling it one of his trademark changes of heart, Aldis made the Guns' debut match a triple threat including A-Town Down Under, and explained his thought process. Aldis said the Guns are there to freshen up the tag division and show everybody that they're the best tag team in the industry before making another huge announcement. This announcement would be that DIY, the Street Profits, and Pretty Deadly will also face off, and the winners of these two matches would face off next week on SmackDown in Brooklyn. The winner of that match will earn a shot at the WWE Tag Team titles in what'll be a huge opportunity for the Motor City Machine Guns following their debut. The arrival of Shelley and Sabin had been alluded to several times on SmackDown in recent weeks, with the letters MCMG flashing at the end of a video teaser last week. This made it clear who the mystery team would be, and as of this time, it's unclear why WWE pivoted away from the mystery team angle and revealed who would be joining. Sabin and Shelley have held gold in multiple promotions, including New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and Impact/TNA, where they worked with Aldis previously. As for the triple threat, the Guns immediately showed the WWE Universe their signature brand of fast-paced offense with some double-team maneuvers. While the focus of the fans was primarily on the Guns in their debut, all three teams had an opportunity to shine, with Los Garza looking especially impressive. Sabin and Shelley scored the win, taking a huge step towards a shot at the WWE Tag Team Championships, currently held by the Bloodline. At WrestleDream, Bryan Danielson's reign as AEW World Champion was ended by Jon Moxley, but that wasn't the original plan for the American Dragon. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it's reported that while Danielson's win at All In was always the plan, he was initially supposed to drop the gold to Darby Allin at WrestleDream. Those plans changed when Jon Moxley turned heel, with this new direction aiming to generate as much heat as possible on Moxley and the revamped Blackpool Combat Club. The long-term goal is to reignite interest in AEW and its storylines, and AEW higher-ups clearly felt the Moxley turn and title win had a better chance of igniting that interest. Danielson's loss came amid a sea of concerning reports about the health of Bryan, who has said he expects to undergo neck surgery by the end of this year. The report adds that Danielson is set to undergo an MRI to assess the damage to his neck, and the outcome of this MRI will determine the next steps for the former champion. Doctors will evaluate whether his condition has worsened or improved, and if it has not worsened, there is hope Bryan can avoid surgery and heal through stem cell therapy. However, if the damage is too extensive, surgery will be necessary, which will keep Bryan out for an indefinite amount of time. Fightful Select previously reported that there are no definite plans for Danielson to return to wrestling, but the door isn't closed for him in the ring. Right now, though, Danielson's focus is on his family and addressing his neck issues, and we'll have to see whether he ends up having to have neck surgery, a fate fans want him to avoid. Do you want Bryan, who is currently without a contract, to return to AEW after neck surgery, or would you prefer a WWE comeback instead? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. For years, fans in the UK have held out hope for a WrestleMania of their own, and when John Cena said he planned to bring it to London, it seemed this would finally happen. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, though, it's reported that the NFL has shown interest in hosting the Super Bowl in Wembley, and that this is London's top priority. With that in mind, it may be quite some time yet, if ever, before fans in the UK get a WrestleMania, as right now, Wembley's focus is outside the world of wrestling. Now, Nia Jax has been in a storyline with Bayley and Naomi for a number of weeks, and this week, Jax and Tiffany Stratton were set to team to face the Faces in tag team action. During a backstage segment, Nick Aldis shared that Stratton was sick, and while Jax thought the match would be cancelled, she was instructed to find a new partner. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell walked in, and the inaugural WWE Speed Women's Champion, who was without her title, offered to be Jax's partner. The WWE Women's Champion warned LeRae not to disappoint her as Aldis made the bout official for later in the night. Sure enough, LeRae kept up her end of the bargain as she and Jax defeated Bayley and Naomi, with LeRae getting the win for her team. With this match done, Jax will now turn her attention to Crown Jewel, where she hopes to become the first Crown Jewel Women's Champion when she faces Liv Morgan. The winner of the bout will be crowned champion and etch their name in the history books, but it'll be interesting to see whether Tiffany Stratton will try to cash in her contract during the bout. More from after Smackdown as Sami Zayn was at the show and teamed with the New Day to take on Pete Dunne in the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day was represented by Carlito and Finn Balor, a somewhat odd pairing given that Balor is not only in an established tag team with JD McDonough, but they are the World Tag Team Champions. It was Zayn and the New Day who got the win, and while this was a solid win for the three, we're yet to see what's next for Sami on TV after failing to capture the World Heavyweight title. With the tag title contenders announcement by Nick Aldis fresh in the minds of fans, Pretty Deadly, DIY, and the Street Profits got the action going, with one man of each team legal at all times. This meant that this was a fast-paced, high-action match with three men fighting and their partners occasionally getting involved. Multi-team matches can often be chaotic and feel unfocused, but these teams did an excellent job making sure the action was both exciting and easy to follow. In a unique finish, Montez Ford and Johnny Gargano each pinned a different member of Pretty Deadly, but since only one of them was legal, DIY was declared the winning team. Montez Ford was visibly angry in the ring in what could easily be the tease of a heel turn, as despite their talents, the Street Profits haven't held gold in a very long time. This was a fun end to an entertaining bout. It's great to see the tag team division get some attention while the titles are tied up in the Bloodline. Over to TNA Wrestling now as Jay Vidal joined the promotion in late 2022, back when it was still Impact Wrestling, but now his time with TNA has come to an end. Fightful reports that Vidal is now a free agent after being granted his requested release, which comes after being overlooked for much of his run with the company. Vidal hasn't wrestled for TNA since August during an Ultimate X qualifying match and has only competed in 4 matches this year and securing just 1 win. Vidal, who has also wrestled for GCW, has expressed frustration with the creative direction in TNA, as well as the company's alleged issues with representation. Vidal gained attention for being TNA's first openly gay wrestler, but has said that he felt the company didn't reciprocate his emphasis when it comes to representation. Whatever the case may be, Vidal is no longer part of the TNA roster, and it remains to be seen what he does now that he is free to work wherever he chooses. In this year's draft, Baron Corbin was called back to the main roster as part of Smackdown, where he was partnered with Apollo Crews as a tag team. This was a partnership Corbin initially wasn't excited about, according to Fightful Select, but he's grown to appreciate. But now we know more about Corbin's ongoing absence. Corbin hasn't competed on TV since the July 19th edition of Smackdown, and Fightful has confirmed that he is not injured and has been present at several tapings. Recently, Corbin has worked dark matches alongside the OC and Los Garza, but right now, WWE Creative hasn't shown any interest in regularly featuring him on TV. We'll have to wait and see when WWE will end up bringing back Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews to television, as fans feel they deserve a shot to show off their tag team skills. Do you believe it's simply unfortunate how WWE has not been booking Baron Corbin at all for months? Sound off in the comments section below. In less than 3 months, Monday Night Raw will move to Netflix in a lucrative 10-year deal that is estimated to be worth $5 billion. Fans outside the US will also receive SmackDown, NXT, and PLEs on the platform, and now WWE President Nick Khan has hinted at more to come on Netflix. Speaking at the University of Southern California's Next Level Sports Conference, Khan announced that WWE and Netflix are developing a new behind-the-scenes documentary. While the release date for the documentary remains unknown, fans can expect it to provide a unique glimpse into the inner workings of WWE's operations and stories beyond the ring. WWE is going all in on its Netflix expansion, and this deal could result in a massive reshaping of how wrestling is consumed in the age of streaming. Before the October 2nd Dynamite, Sammy Guevara's match with Serpentico didn't go as planned, as he was motionless after an attempted cutter and was later stretchered away. In an update from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Sammy has been cleared for in-ring action after suffering a concussion, in a great update for the ROH World Tag Team Champion. Guevara currently holds those titles with Dustin Rhodes, and who would you like to see Guevara go after now that he's cleared? Share your thoughts down below. After coming up short in a women's tag title bout last week, Lash Legend was back on SmackDown to take on Piper Niven, and Jakara Jackson and Chelsea Green were at ringside. Niven is used to having a power advantage, but Legend showed that she is strong enough to hold her own and picked up the win by powering the Scottish star up for a reverse Samoan drop. This was quick, but the pair did a decent job of making it feel competitive, and the clean win for Legend shows WWE's faith in the NXT superstar. Recently, CM Punk spoke about who he wants to face now that his feud with Drew McIntyre is done, and one name on the Best in the World's radar is Dominik Mysterio. In an interview with Adam Bernard of Foundation Radio, Mysterio reacted to this and recalled their last encounter when he was just 11 years old. That encounter saw Punk sing happy birthday to his sister Aaliyah as part of Punk's 2010 feud with Rey, and now as a 6'1", 200-pound wrestler, Mysterio is curious to see what Punk could bring today. In the interview, Mysterio also spoke about The Rock and is tired of the old heads thinking they can hang with the current crop of WWE superstars. He said, "Honestly, I'm just tired of these old heads thinking they can hang and come in here with this younger generation. I don't even want to speak for everyone else, I'm speaking for just myself. At the end of the day, I'm my own person, I'm the greatest Mysterio of all time. These old heads want to come in and get it, they all can. CM Punk, The Rock, don't matter. They're just mad because they don't have hair, and I have the best hair and best mustache." Dominik Mysterio previously said on a Bad Blood Fanatic signing that he hopes to face Punk as he hates the Chicago-made star, and now The Rock is also on his radar. We will have to wait and see if Mysterio will ever get to square off against either The Rock or CM Punk somewhere down the line, as fans would love for that to happen. Do you want to see Dominik Mysterio square off against The Rock or CM Punk in the future? Let us know in the comments section below. While SmackDown was full of huge stars, the voice of WWE, Michael Cole, was not around, and Wade Barrett filled in for him alongside Corey Graves. Graves explained that Cole's absence, only his third in his WWE career, was because of a special assignment, and we'll have to see what this ends up being in the weeks to come. And we're ending with CM Punk, who's currently taking a break from WWE to heal up after Bad Blood, and while he hasn't been on Raw, Punk recently returned to the MMA world of CFFC. Punk once again donned a headset to commentate for Cage Fury FC 137 this week, an interesting move given that WWE and UFC are under the same banner as part of TKO. Punk first started doing commentary for Cage Fury FC in 2018 and has called several events, as his own MMA experiences allow for in-depth analysis on the fights.